Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farmland preservation programs are helping to keep Virginia farms in business. We have some tips to keep your Lenten rose plants healthy. And a state program to encourage replanting trees turns 50 this year.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Powhatan County, a community where development pressures are high. Losing farmland to new housing or other development is an ongoing concern for Virginia farmers. Burke-Muller reports this year, 5 localities in the Commonwealth will receive funding to help keep their farmland in agriculture.
In Virginia, the Farmland Preservation Fund and local purchase of development rights programs are an example of local and state governments working toward the same purpose, to keep farmland available for farming. Governor Glenn Youngkin has announced that for fiscal year 2023, 5 localities will receive a total of $875,000 in grants to help local landowners set aside their land for agriculture.
The Virginia Farmland Preservation Fund is a fund established by the General Assembly to help promote farmland preservation across the Commonwealth, and it's operated through the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Office of Farmland Preservation.
The 5 localities selected this year are Clark, Fauquier, and Stafford counties, plus the cities of Chesapeake and Virginia Beach. These are matching funds. For example, Fauquier County has put up $175,000 to purchase development rights from landowners in fiscal 2023. The state government matches that $175,000 with a grant from the Farmland Preservation Fund. Fauquier County has the largest purchase of development rights program in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Farmers have been using it to keep some or all of their property in agriculture forever. Ken Smith operates Cool Lawn Farms in southern Fauquier County and has used the PDR program to keep land in agriculture in his fast-growing community.
I use it as a tool to buy more farmland. So what money I acquire from the purchase of development right gives me down payment to buy the next farm and put that land in easement to be able to buy another farm. So it's a transitional type situation. We've grown from 278 acres to now over 1,200 acres by buying additional farmland surrounding us, and these are all contiguous properties.
In addition to buying land, Smith has also been able to purchase capital improvements. When completed, this facility will be able to milk over 300 cows per hour. He's also expanded his dairy business into a creamery, Move Through, which his daughter operates.
We've been in business 11 years now, serving almost 500,000 customers a year at our several locations. One in Remington, Virginia, one in Charlottesville, one at Lake Anna, one at Winchester, one at Hillsborough, and one at Warrenton, Virginia.
Virginia Farm Bureau has supported the Office of Farmland Preservation and has advocated for additional funding for the program.
We work with localities and county farm bureaus who are interested in establishing these programs to help them understand the possible benefits to both localities and rural landowners.
Farmers like Smith also see lower real estate tax rates once they sell their development rights. But for him, what's most critical is the ability to pass on what he's worked hard for all his life.
The most important thing is to leave a legacy and to protect other family members who might not be interested in carrying on the legacy or holding the property out of development, and then they might want the most value out of it. So what you've done is you've made the decision for your property because you own it, and you should have the right to make that decision for yourself how you want your legacy to carry forth in future generations. So you could put a stake in the ground and say, this is what it's going to be, and you're going to see green grass or open fields and farming the rest of your life and your children's lives.
Since the program's inception in 2007, The Office of Farmland Preservation has helped provide nearly $13.2 million in state matching funds to permanently protect nearly 15,000 acres across the Commonwealth. In Fauquier County, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
Virginia's urban crescent follows I-95 down to Richmond and southeast along I-64 to Hampton Roads. Farm and forest land all along those major interstates are prime development prospects. And over the decades, thousands of acres have been converted to housing and businesses as the state's economy and population grew. Similar growth patterns are occurring along I-81 in western Virginia and around any urban center. In 1960, Virginia had 13.5 million acres of farmland. By 2003, that had dropped to 8.3 million acres. Each community and property owner has the right to decide how and whether to try to preserve nearby farmland.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about Lenten rows. So stay with us.
We're stronger together, especially at this difficult time. For over 90 years, we've watched our membership grow, and we're honored to be part of such a special community. Thank you to the farmers who provide for us every day. Virginia Farm Bureau is proud to serve our members, their families, and to give back to our local communities. That's the Farm Bureau way.
One of the earliest garden plants that you can enjoy in late winter and early spring is the Lenten rose. Mark Viette has some tips on how to take good care of these beauties in the garden.
Lenten rose is a long-blooming perennial that blooms in February, March, maybe even into April, depending on the variety. They're long-lived plants. They'll grow in full sun, bright shade, they're hardy. They'll even reseed in the garden, and they come in a beautiful array of flowers. And if you look here, we've got pinks, we have whites. Other places of the garden, we have almost reds and purples, all different shades of color. The good thing about Lenten rose, it is a good deer-resistant plant. Now, if deer are starving, they may feed on it, but deer do not normally feed on Lenten roses. We have daylilies around these in other areas, and the deer are feeding on the daylilies, but they do not touch the Lenten rose. You can divide them. The best time to dig and divide is going to be in the spring or even in August. Now, when they produce seedlings, the seed has to go through 2 winter time periods. It's a dormancy factor that you have to have 2 cold periods for the seeds to germinate. And the seeds usually germinate around the base of the plant. If you look right here, you can see lots of seedlings. So let me dig one up. So the seed fell to the ground 2 years ago, and the second winter has occurred. We'll pull out the weeds here, but if you look, here are the little seedlings, and there's lots of them here. Good time to transplant them is going to be probably in August, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they're going to look great. By then, they're going to be, maybe 10 times bigger, and you can pull them out, or you could dig them with a little soil just like this, and then transplant them in the garden. That's a great way to propagate your own hellebores. Another way, these are 2 that I dug. You're going to go ahead and just shake the soil, or you could plant these on their own, but I want to make a few more. And you're going to come in here and you can just pull them apart. If you need a knife, that's great, but this is a wonderful plant that you can use in the garden. If you look at these here, or many of the hellebores we have, they have different shaped leaves. This is a rather unusual one called multifidus, and it has really nice dissected leaves. So you can find many types of hellebores, and some are pure white. Some of you may even have what is known as the Christmas rose, and that's finished blooming. That's one that blooms for Christmas. Now, if you go to your store today, you may see crosses with or hybrids between these unusual varieties, and they're fantastic, but keep in mind, they may cost as much as $35, $40 for a single plant, because it's, they have to divide them, and it takes a while to do that. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Hi, coming up on Heart of the Home, a healthy chocolate mousse. We hope you'll stay with us.
Our cow, she walks into the barn, she gets milked. Milk's taken from her and put through a chiller. And that milk's taken from body temperature of a cow, which is about 102.5, and dropped to 35 degrees and put straight onto a tractor trailer. And it goes straight to the plant the next day. So most of the milk that's sitting on your store shelves is probably less than 48 hours old. And that's a pretty good testament to how efficient we are.
February is when we celebrate all things chocolate. Chef Tammy Brawley has a unique dessert for anyone looking to watch their calories. From the Heart of the Home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make some delicious chocolate mousse. Operative word here, we are making it a healthy chocolate mousse. If I didn't tell you what was in it, you would never know from the taste. So I'm excited to show you this. We're going to start out actually with vegan chocolate chips. This is an Enjoy Life brand. It's actually found in the grocery store where chocolate is sold. But there is no milk product in this. It is vegan, so it's great for your friends who can't have such a product. We're actually going to melt about 3 ounces. And the way that we're going to do that is we're not going to use the stove. We're actually going to use the microwave for this. So you want a nice glass bowl, put about 3 ounces of the dark chocolate chips in, pop them in the microwave for about 20-second intervals or so until they're completely melted. So as you can see, we went in for about 30 seconds at that moment. I take them out and I'll stir them up with a spoon, pop them back in, bring them back out, stir them again until they're completely melted. It's melted quite nicely, and now I want to sweeten it. And we are going to sweeten it with some delicious Highland County maple syrup. If you guys have never been to that festival, you're giving yourself a disservice. So try that out in March, and we're going to stir in some maple syrup into our chocolate. Just want to get that nice and combined. And it's going to wait on the side for a few minutes while we put some other things together here. And you might be asking yourself, why in the world does she have avocados on her cutting board? Well, this is going to be the thickener for this healthy chocolate mousse. We're going to split our avocados. We want to take our pits out. Sometimes they're a little tough. I don't recommend, if you've never done this before, that you do it. We might have to use a spoon. There we go. Avocado is a fat, but it's a good fat. We're going to go back to our food processor here, or to our food processor. You want to scoop out all the avocado. We used 4. If you're only serving 2 people for dinner or dessert, then 2 avocados, cut the recipe in half. It's totally fine. This probably makes about, I don't know, maybe about 3 cups of pudding or mousse. All right, so we have all of our avocado halves in our food processor. We're going to turn that on. Just going to get it nice and smooth. You might have to take the lid off. Go in with a spatula just to move it around a little bit. We're going to come back to that, and we're actually going to add 3 to 5, give or take, tablespoons of cocoa powder. I've got some Dutch process here that I like to use. I actually like to turn this off before I add it. I can see the avocados are blending quite nicely here. We're going to go ahead and add, let's meet in the middle. Let's do 4 tablespoons. So we've got a heavy Dutch processed cocoa here, and then we've got those dark chocolate chips that we're using. You want to get that blended again. Take off the lid, run your spatula through. All right, we're going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I'm going to go through the tube on this. Turn that back on. You also want to add about 1/4 cup of an almond milk. It's just going to thin it out a little bit. And now for the last bit of the recipe, we're going to add that delicious melted chocolate that's been sweetened with the maple syrup. If you are a dark chocolate fan, you will love this recipe. Most of my friends are dark chocolate fans. Back on the food processor for just a moment, and it's done. I like to use a portion scoop. It makes it a nice, even serving size. If you can't get it into the food processor, you can take it off the base, but I usually do pretty well with that. So you're going to drop a chunk in. I like to come back and top it with a little bit of confectioner's sugar. So we're going to sprinkle that right over the top. Nice little color there. And if you'd like, you can let this thicken up in the refrigerator. It would certainly help with that, but it's delicious right out of the food processor. I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Virginia maple syrup is a sweet treat that's produced in early spring every year in the mountains of Western Virginia. Tree sap is tapped and collected from maple tree plantations, then boiled down in stainless steel trays in sugar camps to be bottled and sold to visitors and shipped all around the country. The region's premier syrup event is the Highland County Maple Syrup Festival, traditionally held over 2 weekends each March. But other maple syrup tours are available year-round. In fact, 7 sugar camps in the county have their own trail for visitors to follow all year long.
The care and cutting of Virginia timber is the 3rd largest industry in the Old Dominion. Norm Hyde reports that's partly thanks to a state program that encourages landowners to replant trees.
Virginia's forest products industry generates more than $21 billion and employs more than 108,000 people each year. For decades, many farmers and owners of rural forest land have taken advantage of Virginia's Reforestation of Timberlands program, run by the Virginia Department of Forestry. This cost-share program with landowners recently turned 50 years old and continues to help the forest industry grow. Tim Adams has stock in Virginia's forest industry across 25 acres of farmland in Charlotte County.
You ask my wife, I love these trees. They grow like babies, and when something hurts one, I feel it.
His family first planted trees on their Drake's Branch farm in 1998. Years later, Tim made his own investment in renewing the forest land.
I mainly got in it because I wanted land, and a tract came available beside my farm, so I bought it. It was old Virginia pine that was gotten old and falling down. So I bought it with the intent of cutting it, which I did, and I replanted this, and I harvested 2 years ago.
Tim Adams is one of 52,000 rural Virginia landowners who have taken part in what is commonly referred to as the RT program.
The RT stands for Reforestation of Timberlands program. It's the program that helps reimburse landowners for the expense of planting their land into pine species. It reimburses the landowner about 1/3 of the cost. Just like any other cost, those costs go up every year, and it gets more and more expensive to convert these areas or to replant these areas.
Miller Adams is a forester in Charlotte County with the Virginia Department of Forestry. A 1966 survey of Virginia forest land found that pine trees were being cut faster than they were being replanted across the state. To encourage landowners to replant pine trees, the General Assembly enacted the RT program in 1970. It's funded by the Virginia Forest Products Tax, which is matched by Virginia's general fund. To date, landowners have reforested more than 2 million acres through the RT program, giving a boost to Virginia's third leading industry.
It's a win-win not only for the landowner but for the general public that's going to use the products that come off of these areas. A lot of this timber goes into the pulp and paper market for paper, cardboard, 2x4s.
On average, it takes 15 to 20 years for a landowner to earn a profit from selling their timber, so it's definitely a long-term investment for them. The RT program caps projects at 100 acres per year per landowner. Foresters like Miller can connect them to a planting contractor and help them get the best return on harvesting their acreage.
Kind of hard for some people to conceptualize, but our forests are a living thing, and age certainly plays into that. So we can have times that forests just become in a state of decline. And at those times, we can look at harvesting that forest for the products that it can produce, and then plant our younger trees that can be a future crop. So it's an evolution that's occurring over the landscape. And then another important thing is these trees have benefits for wildlife and recreation. A lot of our landowners hunt or just may enjoy being outside.
Miller says nature will eventually prune old growth forest on its own, but controlling what grows and where offers the best chance of profitability. It also keeps a steady flow of timber for local markets.
It really helps get the ball rolling and get these stands established.
The best thing to own is land, and why not make money while you got it?
Landowners like Tim Adams carry the cost of the land over the years through their property taxes and insurance. But through the RT program, he and other participants see some financial incentives to keeping trees on the land. The RT program offers landowners a partial reimbursement for site preparation, planting, and release cutting, as well as the removal of other trees from pine stands. Miller Adams says there's an application that outlines landowner responsibilities and expectations. You can learn more about the program at dof.virginia.gov. Search for the Reforestation of Timberlands program. In Charlotte County, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde reporting.
We're so glad you could join us this week to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we are proud to say that this is real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
We know that farmers don't always get a chance to hear from the folks who use their products in their homes and on their tables. So we visited the State Fair of Virginia to get some thoughts from our fairgoers on what it is that you do and how it impacts their lives every day.
I just want to say thank you to all the guys. We've got some wonderful farmers in Powhatan. We've got probably the best farmers in the world right here in Virginia. And we want to say thank you. We know it's a tough job. It's not a whole lot of big money rollers, but we want to thank you and God bless all of you guys.
I'd be happy to turn around and tell that farmer, male or female, exactly how appreciative I am for all the hard work they do. I can appreciate the ridiculous hours that they have to work and how they're out on the farm for what little return that they get. And I want them to know, I'd like you to know, with how appreciative I am and my family are for everything that we buy local, that we try to do as best we possibly can, whether it's on the beef or whether it's on the vegetables and things that we have when we grow. And I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you very much for all they do.
I thank you them very, very much because they take a lot of responsibility to feed us. Thank you to them because they feed us. Somebody said once that when the humanity ends without food, we'll have to look for food in the sea. But I also want to say that not only in the sea, we will have to turn to our fields. Thanks God that they are taking this responsibility. I wish them luck and the best blessing from the Lord.
We have farmers in our family, and we appreciate what you do every day. From the milk, the pork that we use, all the vegetables that we get, we thank you, and keep up what you do. We're there for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for all that you do. I know it's difficult and very tiring, so thank you for having us to eat healthy, nutritious food. God bless you.
I'd like to say thank you to all the farmers that put in hard work for the people that go to grocery stores and get common things like milk, eggs. Commonly, we don't really think about the farmers like that when we do those things, but me personally, I like to take appreciation towards them for their hard work and the labor they put towards their work. Thank you, farmers.
We're thankful for our farmers for giving us all of our food, locally sourced, and taking care of this baby's tummy so he can grow really big.
Thank you so much for raising the cows so that I can have milk every day.
Thank you, farmers, for giving me corn to eat. We love farm-to-table food and cows. Thank you, farmers. Thank you.
Thank you for Brussels sprouts and raspberries.
Those who struggle each and every single day just to make those ends meet, but still continue in this industry, are the true role models for those of us who continue to grow in the agriculture industry, especially those of us in FFA and 4-H. We youth organizations look up to you as you're the leaders of this industry, and we learn and we thank you for all that you do to help continue to support us.
Farmers are role models to me because they work so hard to get their job done. Their job never ends. It's always at home or at a different location, and they are probably the hardest workers in our country.
They're role models to me because they have taught me important skills that I can go out and use in the real world, and without them I wouldn't have these skills. I wouldn't be able to stand in front of this camera and talk to people with public speaking skills and also how to properly take care of animals. And I really look up to and am grateful for the farmers in the past who have allowed me these opportunities.
I just wanted to thank all of the farmers both in Virginia and across the U.S. for your amazing sacrifices that you make daily. You are the unsung heroes of both the FFA and our nation, and we truly appreciate everything that you do for both our organization and for us as a people.
We really appreciate farmers because we wouldn't be able to go about our daily lives without you, and we wouldn't have 3 meals a day. It'd be really hard, and without you providing that. So we like to thank you for that.
Thank you, farmers.
Thank you, farmers.
Thank you, farmers.
Muchas gracias a los granjeros de Virginia.
Thank you, farmers.
Say we love you, farmers.
We love you, farmers.
Thank you. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you for all that you do and all the foods that you give us. Have a good day and keep up the good work.
Thank you, farmers, for just the produce, and so we can eat fresh and clean, and so we can stay healthy.
Tomatoes, peppers, and strawberries. I want to be a farmer when I grow up. Thank you, farmers.